Ladies and gentlemen, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of inspiration and realness. Also, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of positivity, personality, and fun. This is Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, and now the perpetrator of these shenanigans, Big Beefy E himself from his Big Beefy Man Cave in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Mr. Shenanigans himself, and the two-time Chilling 3000 2022 End of the Year Awards winner, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer Sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode 870 of the show. It's September the 16th, 2023, 10:35 p.m., the final Saturday of the summer season. As next Saturday will begin fall. That means everybody will have to change their bathing suits, wear bikinis for the girls and swimming trunks for the guys. Exchange them in for, and t-shirts as well. Exchange them in for sweatshirts, jeans, and boots, and the sand for the leaves, and all that good stuff. So, well, hope your week was great. My week was uncertainty, but I was frightened about what's going to happen in this weather, but everything worked out fine. It was just a regular rainy day. Nothing more, nothing less. So we survived that. We've been blessed. So, as the week coming to an end, we got to talk about Collision. This happened over half an hour ago. As you know, Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson cut a promo on the team of Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Their opponents, Bill and Starks responds back. Chris Statlander talking about how she's going to retain her title over Britt Baker. Britt Baker says that she will beat Statlander for that championship. The Dark Order, in fact, Evil Uno was supposed to face Anthony Bowens, but he didn't win the fight print in the contract. It's John Silver, not Evil Uno. So, and he decided to respond back saying, "We don't care. We'll face anybody." Then the team of Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson went one-on in a tag team matchup with Ricky Starks and Big Bill. And Starks and Bill cheated to beat Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson. Meanwhile, Heyman Page and the Young Bucks decided to cut a promo on Mogul Embassy and challenge them to a matchup. So there is that. And decided to challenge for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. Powerhouse Hobbs cut a promo on his Book of Hobbs, writing a new chapter of destruction. That means no one is safe from Powerhouse Hobbs. Meanwhile, Miro cut a promo on his hot, flexible wife, C.J. Perry. Says, "Why'd you tempt me with a woman that doesn't believe in God?" It seems like to me, this was more than meets the eye here. We'll check that out while we come along. The AEW Tag Team titles on the line. The Iron Savages, that is Bear Bronson and Boulder, with JT Davidson as their manager, challenging FTR, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler. FTR retains, and the Work Horsemen came up as Anthony Henry and JD Drake came up and looked at FTR challenge with the belts. FTR accepted with a handshake. So that's happening next week. Meanwhile, Lexi Nair interviewed Keith Lee while Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty interrupted him and issued a challenge to Keith Lee. Now Keith Lee and Shane Taylor were once a tag team back in the day known as the Pretty Boy Killers. They probably hate pretty boys. Meanwhile, Anthony Bowens went one-on-one with John Silver of the Dark Order, Mr. Johnny Hungy, the Meat Man. Yeah. Johnny Hungy, the Meat Man. And Evil Uno was out from under the ring. Now, also John Silver says in the contract, though, during the matchup, Billy Gunn and Max Castro were banned from ringside, but they didn't say anything about the Dark Order. Evil Uno snuck under a ring, attacked Anthony Bowens during the matchup. John Silver took advantage of that situation and ended up picking up the victory. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Eddie Kingston cut a promo. Claudio Castagnoli was still bitter towards Claudio Castagnoli about leaving the Indies in a mess and everything else in between. Meanwhile, Renee Paquette interviewed Orange Cassidy and and Hook, and Orange Cassidy goes, well, maybe we should team up. Let's get a tag team match. Hook's like, okay. And they were sharing some Doritos chips. Funny. Aussie Open took on the team of Wes Barkley and Pretty Boy Smooth. Aussie Open picked up the victory. And then they decided to issue a challenge to FTR for the AEW Tag Team titles at WrestleDream. A little bit more on that story. Tony Storm, the most curvaceous, bodacious, scrumptious, delicious, beautiful babe from Australia, has a portrait of a star, interviewed by RJ City. And RJ City addressed the situation because now the business has changed. So I didn't change, the business has changed. And she's trying to get out on the right rack, and she's complaining about the lighting and the lamps so hideous and all that. She's funny. I love Tony Storm. This new gimmick is awesome. That's for sure. Miss Tony Storm. Portrait of a star. Oh. So, Scorpio Sky and Andrade El Idolo cut promos on each other before their matchup, which it happened. And, one-on-one. Andrade did pick up the victory over Scorpio Sky. The two shake hands afterwards. But then the Bullet Club, Gold, showed up. Switchblade, Jay White, the leader. Rock Juice Robinson, followed by the Guns, Austin and Colton. They ran their mouths. Jay White issued a challenge to Andrade. Andrade goes, come on. But referees and security officials decided to separate the two, which is a smart move because Andrade is outnumbered 4-1 in that situation. Then Tony Schiavone interviewed Katsuyori Shibata, and basically I think Shibata responded with Google Translate to issue an open challenge to anybody for the pure title. Meanwhile, the Hardys went up against the Righteous. The Righteous is the team of Vincent, a.k.a. Vinny Marseglia, and Dutch. Vincent and Dutch of the Righteous picked up the victory there, and they decided to address MJF and Adam Cole and challenging for those Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Be a heck of a matchup. Claudio then responds to Eddie Kingston's allegations against him, and Bobby says they vow, and Bobby says he vows to beat him. So there's that. Meanwhile, Tony Schiavone interviewed FTR, and FTR basically accepts the challenge of Aussie Open. So at WrestleDream, FTR will defend the AEW World Titles, Tag Team titles against the Aussie Open. That's Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. Those you keep score. And then Tony Schiavone interviewed Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and actually before that, Zack Sabre Jr. cut a promo on Bryan Danielson, bringing his family into the mix, so his two kids. Zack, big mistake, my man, big mistake. I know you want to bring out the best in your opponent, but that's not one way you want to do it. Anyways, Tony Schiavone interviewed Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is so upset, so we're going to end this thing. You and me next week in a Texas death match. So, Bryan Danielson, in fact, that match will be happening next week on AEW Collision. Main event, the AEW TBS title on the line. Chris Statlander to defend against Britt Baker. This was a heck of a matchup, back and forth. Britt Baker had the lockjaw walked in twice, and then after the second lockjaw, Chris Statlander turned her over and made the bridge pin, and Chris Statlander retains the TBS Championship. But guess who was watching from the skybox seats? Julia Hart. And that's right, Julia Hart was watching. Highlight, got to see my favorite Dark Order member, Johnny Hungy, John Silver, the Beat Man, Johnny Hungy, because he's funny as heck. And the lovely, the gorgeous, curvaceous, babylicious Tony Storm. Juice Robinson, you lucky man, you. And you're crazy in marrying her. But hey, I'd be crazy too. But anyways, thank you for watching Eric Lima's Shenanigans 1977, episode 870 of the show. That's it. So, I'll see you in the next episode of the show. Hopefully I'll bring you some Shenanigan Arcade. I've made a promise to do that one of these days. So, until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Lima speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, duo for Bob Saget production, and in association with A Sweet Bofa Raving Dingleberries Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another great episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.